Mauritius is located in the southwestern part of the Indian Ocean, 900 kilometers to the east of Madagascar. With its 330 kilometers of coast, its extensive white sandy beaches and its world-class hotels overlooking transparent turquoise waters, Mauritius is one of the most highly sought-after tourist destinations. On this 65-kilometer long and 45-kilometer wide volcanic island, 1.3 million people of every color, originating from Africa, Asia, and Europe, live together in peace and harmony. Since independence in 1968, the island has made remarkable progress in its economic performance, passing from being a developing country to achieving the status of a newly industrialized country. In a world controlled by a market economy that is good at distributing resources yet creates significant divisions at the same time, there is another story going on behind these idyllic landscapes that is not so rosy. Excessive living costs, a widening gap between the rich and the poor, job insecurity, rising unemployment levels, drugs, prostitution, violence, and exclusion have all contributed to extreme poverty. NetforGod is traveling to Mauritius, where for a number of years now, groups of volunteers and non-governmental organizations, NGOs, have been working together, doing everything they can to reduce poverty. Their struggle is to restore people's dignity, to get them back on their feet, so that they can regain their confidence and live independently. Their method is to build bridges between people, based on the key words solidarity, generosity, fraternity, and love. Today, we're setting off on a journey of discovery to one of these NGOs called Love Bridge.
Come on, we're going in. Yoo-hoo! Come on, children, where are you? The speciality of the aptly named Love Bridge Association is the provision of practical support to families. To a certain extent, it goes both ways. We support them because they're experiencing difficulties, but they also support us in what we're trying to do. And they're here with us asking us, how are you managing? Are you okay?
We are in the center of the island, at Chemin, the second largest city in Mauritius. Just 1 kilometer from La Brasserie housing estate, where Jenny's family lives. The Chemin Starlight Sports Club, CSSC, is a sports club and social center founded in 2001.
In my opinion, in addition to all the benefits that sport can provide in building up people's confidence, it is also the best way of getting people together, because sport eliminates any differences there may be, such as race or class. As the Chemin Starlight Club grew, we soon decided to give it social dimension. We got the idea one day during a meeting led by the government when we were trying to find solutions for the 8,000 families in Mauritius who live in abject poverty. As we asked ourselves, what can we do for these people, we got the idea of Love Bridge. The idea of Love Bridge was simple, as its name suggests. It was to build bridges between those who have and those who do not, creating a human bridge between people, between these two groups who currently do not mix. They don't know each other, and because of this they judge each other. There is judgment on both sides, there is mistrust, there is incomprehension.
Love Bridge was founded in 2012. The pilot project started at the Brasserie estate, with 15 families living beneath the poverty threshold who had been identified through a field study. They are the beneficiary families. 15 couples, the accompanying families volunteered to start this human adventure. Social workers from the link between the accompanying families and the beneficiary families.
Lovebridge offers a structure with psychosocial counselling, creating a framework for the bridges being built between accompanying families and vulnerable families. We also have a team of social workers. There are currently 5. And we call this bridge the cell, the relationship. But the system is effectively a triangle where we have accompanying families, vulnerable families, and a dedicated social worker to ultimately organize this link. There are monthly meetings, structured and regular, at which we work on an action plan. What makes Lovebridge different is that our social workers live in the same neighbourhoods as our vulnerable beneficiary families. Consequently, they know these families, their environment, and their history. But they're also an example because they grew up in the same district, but succeeded in rising above it, to become integrated in society, and to have a stable job, to send their children to school, and then on to study at university.
Oui. Corina, oui, bonjour. Ça va, Sophie? Tu pas le temps de nous ouvrir la porte? Non, pas grave. Allez, rentre. Bonjour, tu vas bien? Merci, bonjour. Dis bonjour, Francine. Bonjour, ça va? En fait, c'est que, comment m'expliquer à moi, c'est que tous les...
As I explained before, I was outraged because I thought that any disabled child, anyone born with a disability in Mauritius, had access to a state benefit. But it's always puzzled me that since you've been with us in the project, you tell me each time that you're not entitled to this benefit. We had a number of meetings with the Social Security staff who told us that Leah was indeed entitled to receive benefits. Like any other disabled person living in Mauritius has the right to disability benefits, even though the parents had jobs. The income of the family has no bearing on the benefit allowance. But it's not like that at all. When we meet them, they speak to us in a language which is completely different.
Corina is the grandmother of young Leah, who was born with a severe mobility disability due to medical negligence at the time of her birth.
She underwent 2 difficult surgical operations. The first was here and the second there. She was fed with a special milk formula through an intravenous drip. We would never have got anywhere alone. We only made it thanks to Lovebridge. The support that Lovebridge gave us was immense. Otherwise, Leah would not be here. We receive a lot of help. Anne and Philippe Leclésio support us. They're always here for us. We can also count on the support of Francine and Florise whenever a difficulty arises. Anne, Philippe, our accompanying family, is by our side. Before I met them, I thought to myself, what will it be like with a white woman, a white family? How will we greet each other? Will there be any obstacles? No, there were no whites. There was nothing at all. We lived like family. Even with the people close to me, I've never had a relationship of such quality. I didn't think there would be friendship between us, but we're even closer than friends. A bond has been created between us that I can't explain.
In the beginning, it wasn't easy. This project was based on a new concept, and we were entering unknown territory. It's different. It's not handouts. It's something else. Because in the past, everybody would come just to make a donation. This concept is different. The aim is to get people back on their feet. And at Lovebridge, we make a lasting commitment. It means, on the one hand, getting the accompanying family to understand that they need to take a risk, to be patient, and not to try to change things too quickly. And on the other hand, to get the beneficiaries to understand that the system is not designed to be a handout, and the success of the project relies on their children with a particular focus on their education.
Lovebridge is a support project over at least 20 years, a generation. Its principal objective is to give families in difficulties the tools and the means to become independent through progressively improving their quality of life. With this perspective, the project rests on 6 pillars in the accompaniment of families: education, health, work, housing, food, and the beneficiaries' wish to improve their situation. Thanks to the financial support it receives from its many partners, Lovebridge acts as an enabler by connecting people in need with the providers of the resources needed.
How are you, Johnny? I'm fine. Hello. Hello, Jonas. I'm okay. You? Good. This is my son, Jonas. And this is my daughter, Arkelia. Oh, look at her beautiful hair. The lovely pleats. How are you, darling? I'm okay. Bit tired. Where's the school report? Upstairs. Is it good? Yeah, quite good.
Odile and Thierry have been accompanying the family of Gianni and Bernard for 3 years. Thanks to the approaches that Odile had undertaken with a private school, 3 of Gianni and Bernard's children have changed school. Today is the day for the results.
What's it say? What's it say, Amy? Reading, pass. Word comprehension, pass. Answers to simple questions, 3. That means you're starting to make progress. Well done. Writing simple words, pass. I'm pleased. And you? Are you pleased? Well done. Is that what your mum said? 1, 2, 3, go. So, Mr. Jonas. Positive self-image, confident and independent. Do you know what that means? It means that you have good self-confidence and have an independent personality. You've made progress. Well done. Oh, that's coming on nicely. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Wow! Say it again. Well done.
Encore un coup. Bravo.
Tracy, au fait, enfin, comment on appelle ça en créole, zéro largué.
Tracy used to be bon à rien, as we say in Creole. That means useless. She always had bad marks. I used to feel so discouraged. But since they changed school, Emmy has made a lot of progress. She's improved a lot in French.
They is.
They are?
At the moment, they are visiting a friend.
Are you going to fetch them? Formerly, there was nothing there. It was open to the sky. There was some corrugated iron for shelter, and water was running through the house all the time. It soaked the bedroom and ran into the kitchen. Today, they've added a room upstairs. Before, we didn't have any of this. The roof of the house was here. My husband and I didn't have any work. We used to go to the rubbish dump to find old bits of scrap metal, copper, corrugated iron. In the evening, we sold what we'd found for some small change. We managed to survive by buying enough for the children to eat, some bread to take to school. My school is called St. Patrick's. And your teacher? My teacher is called Elodie. The first time I met Odile and Thierry, when they came to our house with Florise, I felt at ease straight away, as if we'd always known each other. In my heart, I said, Lord, you've sent me an angel, because we needed support with the children. We didn't have any support.
I like my bedroom. Odile made a picture, a nice painting. She built this house for us. Before, it was just sheet metal here. There was no upstairs. We asked Odile to build an upper floor. We took down the sheet metal, and it was built.
Without Odile, our life would be different. And without her, I wouldn't have found another job, which I've been doing for nearly a year now. I'm no longer on the rubbish dump. I feel responsible in my work. I can give my children what they ask for, and even if I can't give them everything, with a bit of an effort, I manage to give them a part of it. I'm a mother, but I'd never learned how to manage a family. My eldest daughter always lived with my mother-in-law, and we didn't get on. Whenever I spoke to her, she'd say, "You're not my mother," and lots of things like that. Odile showed me how to have authority, because I didn't know how to bring up a child. She showed me how to give her confidence, how to speak, and how to love her, how to thank her when she'd done something good. Gradually, Odile taught me a lot of things. And now my children are close to me. I love my home, and I love my mother. I love my father. Before, I didn't like my mother. Now, when Odile took me to her house, she showed me how to love people. She showed me we have to forgive. And that we ought not to say nasty things.
It's me to say the prayer. Thank you, Jesus, for this meal that you have given me today, because you gave us work to have this lunch.
And teach us to give to those who don't have anything. Amen.
I lived in Mauritius until the age of 18, and then I went to Australia, and I was very focused on my career and my professional ambitions. My perspective on what I wanted to do as a job has completely changed since I met Jesus. And I think it was really the Holy Spirit who led me to meet Harold. I had never really had any specific experience of doing social work, being with others who are totally impoverished. I left really devastated after that first day in the field, visiting families, and rather sad inside. I asked myself a lot of questions. Why could people find themselves in such situations? Why is it that the authorities don't come to help them? Why are they in this distress? Where is humanity going today? Quite simply, if you're educated and have a job, you ignore these things because you don't want to see how others are different. Is it also to protect ourselves from the suffering of others, not to be exposed to this suffering? So there are all these questions which had surged up inside me. And it was then that I remembered that in his Christmas message, the Bishop of Mauritius, Monsieur Piat, had said, "If you truly want to be an artisan of peace, you must not be satisfied with giving what you can spare, but really reach out to others. Become the brother and the sister of the poor." So it was really with that perspective that I began to get fully involved in this work. That I gave myself body and soul. because the non-essential that I was renouncing was my career, my social status. I really felt this call to say to myself that today I want to give myself for others, to become a sister for these poor people. And by rubbing shoulders with them, you get to know them, you learn to love them. I can see that it's Jesus who's in this project. It's Jesus who's at the heart of this project, because there's joy in giving and receiving on both sides.
Since Lovebridge arrived here, we have begun to give a new direction to our life and also to our love. In a household, there are normally arguments. These have stopped in our home. We are happy. We manage to get involved with each other and to talk.
We sit down and spend time to discuss things, to exchange as a family together. Before, everything happened in a rush.
When I used to leave work, I would never come straight home. I would stand in the road with friends. Since meeting Lovebridge, I understand the meaning of family more. We talk to each other. If there is something to do or say, we do it openly. Our love has changed thanks to Lovebridge. What I have retained from this experience is the love that we have been able to give to each other. It is a mutual enrichment. As Harold Mayer, the president of Lovebridge, said, the idea is not to bring them fish, but to teach them to fish.
At my level, as Harold said, we all have a very busy life. Here we have our leisure time and our work, the house, the family. But it's also right for us to want to go and share a little of our human life with the other family, because we all have different problems. The worries for the family of Béline and Michael are different, but we also have worries and cares. But it's a question of sharing with them, and we're together on a level of simple humanity, of human beings. And it's really this, who we are in all our simplicity. We're ultimately all the same.
I think we all have something to share. I mean, we shouldn't imagine that it is only the wealthy who can make a Lovebridge. We can all do this. It is an invitation that Jesus gives to all of us to be a Lovebridge, to share everything. We all have something to give. There is no one in the world who is so poor that they have nothing to share. There is nowhere, no place where sharing or the love bridge cannot enter. There is no one excluded from this sharing. And it is up to each of us to take responsibility so that one day we will perhaps no longer need Lovebridge, because there will no longer be any poor people. And maybe the unjust situations that we are experiencing today will cease to exist. Mauritius could be a small laboratory for the world. It is a small island, but one where there are 5 great religions and cultures, and yet also where absolute poverty is side by side with wealth. So Lovebridge is a project that means a great deal to me. And I think that it could really have an extremely important role, since it brings love to the heart of all its activities. And people of different backgrounds, different cultures get to know each other, to appreciate one another and to help one another. Lovebridge means building bridges between people who don't see each other, who judge each other wrongly. And what we have experienced these 3 years, whether it is Corinne and me in our accompaniment of Béline and Michael, or in the 42 cells that we have, it is extremely rich, and from this fact we hope to be able to go even further and reach the 8,000 families in Mauritius who are destitute.
The Lovebridge project has won over the Mauritian government. During a meeting on Thursday, the 27th of August 2015, between the private sector and the government, the finance minister promised an annual budget of 100 million Mauritian rupees, 2.5 million euros. or work with the 8,000 families living below the poverty line.
At the beginning, Harold told us to come for 2 years. After 2 years, we committed for another year. But after 3 years, we realized that it's not a project just for a moment, it's for a lifetime. And we would always be companions for Bernard and Jenny. There's no way that one day we shall no longer accompany them. And anyway, it's no longer accompaniment now. It's a fraternity of love and friendship. And it's beautiful. And there's an awful lot of poverty. And if every family in Mauritius took one family to accompany for a love bridge, I think that poverty would be eradicated.
Pour un pont d'amour, je pense que la pauvreté serait éradiée.
Champs-Élysées, pain, soleil sous la pluie, ou à midi, ou à minuit, il y a tout ce que vous voulez, Champs-Élysées.
Men build too many walls and not enough bridges, said Newton. Like Lovebridge, let us build bridges right where we are. Let's pull down our walls in order to be able to build relationships with others, because man is a social being who can only reach true self-fulfillment through relationships. It is relationships that make us discover the richness in our differences, because no man is self-sufficient. Only another person can give me what I don't have, while I can give him what he doesn't have. From the Gospel of St. John, chapter 13, verses 34 to 35. Jesus said to his disciples, "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also are to love one another. By this all people will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." Lord, we commit to you all these persons, all these NGOs who, like Lovebridge, are committed to pushing back poverty, to restoring dignity to humanity. May your Holy Spirit give them the resources and the strength they need to succeed in this daily struggle. Give us, give our governments, hearts which see with tenderness and compassion the poverty and suffering around us, especially the most impoverished people on our earth. Give us your eyes to see better, your heart to love more, and your hands for even more sharing.